I don't know if you've been in that place where you have no idea that you only have 1 hour to pack and go, and you don't know where you're going.
How
with
you
a bunch of children, you know what to do. You just trusting, That's why I was in the bedroom praying, because the only thing now I'm hearing that I am me, Caroline Kirote Moreti Bong, I am being accused of child neglect, severe abuse, severe what. So me from there, I did not talk because I broke down. I have not. Welcome again to our part 2 of God Does Not Waste Experiences. Even if they look very useless, painful and very useless, God does not waste experiences. So because I shared the dream and what happened, if you've not watched the dream part so that you can understand what happened, go back to part 1 and listen.
Understand the context.
And the context, and then come
on
back
why it was not accidental.
It was, God knew it was going to happen. So maybe you can give your version of the story.
So, to be honest, even when my cousin told me about that girl, I wasn't freaked out. Mommy was very freaked out. But I guess she was freaked out because it was her dream and all the emotions, she's the one who felt them. Me, I was just like, oh, like that's weird, but I didn't really take much about it. I didn't think much about it. Also, I think I don't know what was happening. Was Melody there? She was in school, right?
No, she was in school.
Yeah. So I wasn't really thinking about it, and I think I was just from 1 month from the US.
No, I think actually a few weeks.
Yeah, a few weeks from the US, and so I don't know, I wasn't expecting. No, it was a few weeks because this is right after
like a month.
A month-ish. So and plus we had a lot of ministry things going on. During that time we went to different churches and everything.
In school.
So I think my mind was occupied with those things. I don't know, but I wasn't that interested in I wasn't oh my god, it's a very intense dream. So when mom told us, she was very disturbed, of course, and so she continued. And then so do I start from the story called now the story itself? So this is what happened. My mom was planning to go somewhere, right? You were in the bedroom.
No, I was in the bedroom praying because now we had to pack, because the landlord had told us, now if you don't pay by the end of the day,
that's the context. But I don't think we told them that.
Told who?
On the other.
No, we didn't. No, that we've not actually come to the story. We didn't mention the story.
The thing is that.
So I told these guys to pack. Yet I had faith that
we were
God
all
would
having
work out a miracle.
Yeah. So basically, what was happening is that the owners of the house, because of the work mom was doing at that time, things just went wrong. She just attacked everything that she was so sure of. The one thing that she was holding on for the rest of the year and for the rest of maybe 2 years had just crumbled. And so we didn't have anything else to do. We were just literally hanging on faith. And because of that, rent was not there, and so we had to move to where we don't know, because we need money to move and you need our house.
And remember, we had lived in Kigali for 7 years, so we were not really we weren't established in Nairobi. We didn't have furniture. We didn't.
We had nothing.
We didn't have.
The house we were living in was already furnished.
Yes.
So even if
remember, we had come to Nairobi temporarily for that position, so that the kids could go back to school.
But God had told us we keep on staying in Kenya.
Yeah, for them. So there was so much confusion.
There's so much. Actually, he hadn't told us. He was telling us, but we were like, "Are you sure?"
Why would you bring us to Nairobi and then
tell us?
And now we have been thrown out of the house, and you're saying we stay in Kenya.
It doesn't make sense. So God was telling us that, and we knew how stupid it would make us look in front of people, our families, our friends. So we were it was basically between people pleasing and God pleasing. So we were there. So in the midst of that, that's now the day the owners of the house were like, you have to get out today. Today. By at night, 5, we want to make sure we're going to enter the house and you better not be in it. So now we knew they're serious, which they had been saying weeks before, but this time we knew they're serious. So we just packed. What else can you do? So as we packed, and we're like, okay.
We're just there packing. Me, I was in the
God, you're telling us to move.
Yeah.
We're going to move. So we packed, we started packing our clothes, packed everything. Luckily, because we hadn't been in Kenya for a long time, we were literally coming to visit for a holiday. Most of the things that were there were only clothes.
Yeah.
So packing wasn't that hard. So I'm in the sitting room with Auntie, and like, was she there? No, I was the only one in the sitting room. So these are flats, right? So I'm sitting in the seat and everything, and the room looks crazy. Books are everywhere, clothes are everywhere.
We are homeschooling.
When I mean it's crazy, it was crazy. Like
upside down.
It was basically upside down.
Yeah.
And so like when that I'm sitting, even the seat I'm sitting in, I was probably sitting on other clothes and
or suitcases.
And to make it worse, we had put them all in the sitting room so that all the bedrooms can be at least free
and clean up.
Yeah. So we see people enter the house, and I was like, the first thing, so I see this group of guys like in their 30s to 40s, they're entering our house.
A whole bunch of
people just talking and smiling and entering. So I was like, hi, and she was like, oh, are you Kayleen? And I was like, huh? What do you mean? I think they didn't even ask for my mom first. They asked me if I'm Kayleen.
Yes.
And I was like, okay, how do they know my name? And they did not only say, are you Kayleen? They were like, Kayleen from the US. Who came from the US.
Yeah.
So I was like, how do you know that? That's very concerning.
Yeah.
If that was to happen in Rwanda, I would understand, because it's a very small country, and everyone knows you, and you've stayed there for very long, so I would understand. But this is Kenya.
And a new place again.
A new place.
Just been here for
and
4
it's
months.
not in deep in Nairobi. If you know where Mega is, it's outside in Kiambu. All there.
Almost Gatundu,
it's in the bushes, basically. That's what makes it amazing. And so I was like, what are these? I don't know why I didn't think they're kidnappers, by the way. I should have thought they're kidnappers.
Yeah.
But that's how they sounded like. So I don't, till today we don't really understand how they knew us from the US. We have our own skeptical, version of it, but we really don't understand how.
But apparently when later, this lady did say that somebody told us actually that they had sat with the kids for very long. We have no idea.
But with the amount of information they gathered, we were just like, whoa. Wow. So anyway, they asked me, so I'm like, yeah. So already I'm looking very sketched out. I'm like, what, how do you know me? And so they're like, is your mom in here? But when they were asking me that, it's not because they wanted to know if mom is in here so she can talk to mom. They wanted to talk to me personally.
They were interested in you, not
in me. Yeah. So mom was like, by the way. So I was like, why do you want to talk to me? No. I told Auntie Pam, there are people in the Nini, and she's like, no, just call mom. So I go and I call mom. And that's when the drama unfolds.
And then, first of all, I remember you called me, you're like, Mom, there's some guys just look. So me that
by the way,
they are the landlord.
Reason why we didn't think they're kidnappers is because that day we were supposed to move. I remember because that day we were supposed to move, and it was a company house, so it wasn't really surprising. We were.
But the question is, why were they looking for you?
That's the thing. That's why it was very confusing.
Yes. So she said there's these guys who are here, and they're saying they want to speak to me, and they've asked you, am I the one from the US? So the first thing I thought is, when they're giving you a scholarship, why would they come? They're interested in how do they know?
It was just so weird.
You're a celebrity.
Mommy, you were in the bathroom making your face. I remember. I think Mommy was supposed to go somewhere that day because she was making her face.
I wasn't dressed up, so I'm like, this is so inconveniencing. I just want to finish what I'm doing, and So
it was already. Those days that it's just.
Yeah.
It's just like that.
You really don't know what's going to happen. And
it wasn't a good day. It was just a very...
At that point, I haven't told anyone. There's only one friend I had called and said... Because me, I was just worried about the kids. I was like, can my kids come and stay over at your house as I figure out? So she was like, no, I have to do my mother-in-law, have visitors. So when she responded negatively, I was like, I'm not going to ask somebody else. So God, you well to sort, you know you how you will do. So I have not spoken to. So if these guys actually literally throw us out, I don't know. And then it's very awkward to start calling family who you haven't even told what has been happening, that you lost your job, you lost your business, they don't know what has been happening. So it looks very awkward to start inconveniencing family again. So that's where we are. So I'm like, God, Hapa, you're the one that will just save us.
So like when we saw that, it was very weird. We couldn't wrap our heads around it, because if it was the house people, why are they asking for me? If it was, if it was people for scholarship, why are they in our house? Like, how do you even know about me? So anyway, we go into the sitting room, mommy goes and everything. I even go because I thought they're gonna speak about other things. So I was not interested, so I just went to my bedroom.
To continue packing or
whatever I was doing together with Auntie Pam. We didn't take it seriously. So I hear like them saying, let's sit down.
You guys. So you have to move the clothes.
I know. I had to move the clothes.
There are like how many? 10 guys?
Yeah.
So some seat, some stand.
I think they were like
full.
I think
and then there were still others outside.
That's what we didn't know, but we don't know at this point.
Now there are like 10 guys in the house and others outside that we don't know. Okay, yeah.
So so that me, I wasn't there. So you tell them what they say.
So now I sit down. First of all, let me tell you, I don't know if you've been in that place where you have no idea that you only have 1 hour to pack and go, and you don't know where you're going.
How
a bunch of children, you know what to do. You just trust in. That's why I was in the bedroom praying, because the only thing that could help us here is God.
And that's what she said. She was like, let me just go pray, because I can't do anything. There's nothing.
And then this bunch of people who look very relaxed are telling me, let's sit down. We've got to pack. We don't know what, like that is the last thing I want to do. I don't want to sit down and talk about nothing. Unless if you're the landlord, we are clearing out.
Yeah.
And very soon I realized they don't know the landlord. So I'm even a bit more irritated. Like, who are you guys? So they start asking me questions. Okay? So, and they're asking all these questions, and I'm wondering, why are you asking me these questions? So they asked me, so this girl that was here, can we talk to her? So there's this thing like when Mormons or
Jehovah's Witnesses.
Yeah, when they come to preach in the house, they normally insist on kids. So I normally say, no, speak to me, So like Mormons, I was like, no, I'm the mother, speak to me, then, you don't need to, whatever it is. Because she's in trouble? Do you have favor for her? What? And we're very peace-loving people. We don't break laws. So
I would rather.
So I don't know where anything would have happened. And she hasn't started paying taxes, so she didn't even have an ID.
Literally,
so
I was 17. Yeah.
So anyway, they sit me down. They're not telling me straight where they're coming from. They just ask me a few questions, and I'm thinking, do I answer? Don't I answer? So anyway, they're asking generally. So they said, so when I became skeptical about bringing you in, so they're like, this is your daughter? Yes. So they asked, bring in the story of US again. I'm like, where is this coming from? And then, and then they asked me, how many kids do you have? They ask all these things. Then they say, eventually they say, she says, let's say Joyce, and I am Peter. And so they introduce themselves now. The whole cycle starts introducing. So there's Joyce from Child Welfare Society. Now I am so confused. I did not hear Child Welfare Society. Honestly, I did not hear Child Welfare Society. The second woman says, I am Siji who.
That's when I came in.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then the third one says, I am the chief of this region. No, the chief is what caught my attention. Let me tell you, my mind was scattered. I was not hearing anything because I said, blah, 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 finish, you go,
Yeah.
So, chief. Then the guy stands and says, I am the DO, Siju of Kiambu, Siju. Then every other position was Siju government, police, Siju what? Like, okay, now, this is serious. What are you guys doing in my house? I haven't refused to come, so you can't have the chief and DO come to do. And then even if the chief and DO are there, what is the child welfare? Now I start figuring out. So the child welfare woman sits down and says, Caroline, we are here to ask you some few questions. We've had some, this is the most ridiculous thing. apparently, I figured out, I understood, somebody had written a complaint message about me, about us, that I was neglecting my children. You understand? And say, so there's a message of neglect. You know, like the way the government says, if you see a child being abused, send a message. If a child rapist you, what all those things, report to the government. So somebody had sent a message with those, I think, I don't even know the number, but like the 911 of child welfare to Nairobi. And Nairobi had called Kiambu. And now Kiambu was in our house. And why? Because I was neglecting my children's welfare. Now, why it was so focused on Kaylin and her US thing, I don't know up to now.
Yeah, it's weird.
But then
maybe they were thinking, Mommy takes care of me so much, and she leaves the others.
No, I don't think they thought even these were my kids. They probably thought you were my child, or I was child trafficking or something. Anyway, I don't know. But anyway, they start asking me, how many children do you have? No, sorry. When they say that they are child welfare and they are coming because I'm neglecting my children, so I asked, how have I neglected my children? They're like, your kids have been home for 6 months, they have not gone to school. I'm like, I've not even been in this estate for 6 months, but anyway, tell me, how are they, whatever. Now, I have to give you a background. Our children are in an international system.
Also, that's
schooling.
one more thing. Who is it? Because it's true for 6 months. No, for 3 months they weren't in school.
And see, that's what I'm trying to explain, why they were not in school for 3 months. Because our children are in an international system of education. So when I started doing this business in Nairobi, this export business in Nairobi in February. So I was traveling to Nairobi almost every week. February, March, April. Now international system, they break in for summer in May.
Yes.
You understand? So when it came to May, and then they get back to school in September. So I figured instead of trying to get to Kigali, Nairobi every week, you know, flight tickets, I'm tired, you know, I'm not being effective in what I am doing. When they close for school, I will get with them. We actually even drove. I'll get with them to Nairobi. They'll spend the whole summer holiday in Nairobi. And when it is time to go back to school in September, then they'll go back and I've spent time with them.
Now they were supposed to go that September, because it was September, right?
Yes, when this project crashed.
Yes, when the project crashed.
So they didn't.
They didn't go to school for like maybe, let's say 2 weeks.
Yeah, 2-3 weeks.
2-3 weeks.
Yeah.
So it's
still the third week since opening day now.
Yes. So even if they were to say we didn't take the kids to school,
it was for
unless you're saying for 2 weeks, which makes sense. Which we were thinking, should we go to care? So we go to school.
And with which even for those 3 weeks, we had actually bought Cambridge books for their next
so they were already homeschooling.
And they were homeschooling.
Yeah.
You know, so we did not just leave them.
Yes. So that's where we come from. I'm coming from.
Yes.
So how did they know for 6 months?
You know.
How? Like, how did you figure that out, and how did you know?
This is what I think. The person who reported probably saw us come, and they have having 844 system of schooling in education. So when our kids were for summer holiday, not going to school.
But we weren't there for summer holiday.
They were. You remember we came in May. So we've stayed there May, June, July, August. So we've stayed for 4 months. And now this is September. So they are figuring second term, these kids did not go to school. Na sasa that term imeingia, these kids still haven't gone to school. That's number one. Number two, we have many kids. I have 6 kids. You know, so and also my nephews and nieces were all coming, you know. So I think they're like, this woman, she's child trafficked. I don't know, that's what I'm imagining.
Okay, no, at first they probably thought there are 5 kids. Then they see me coming from the US, and
there were
like,
4 kids actually. Then Melody comes.
Oh, then Melody comes.
Then you come.
Then me. Then there's Auntie Pam, who also looks like she's part of us.
Oh yeah. So it's like I have 7 permanent kids.
Yeah.
And all this bunch of nephews and nieces who keep coming every time, because they were also on holiday in August. So I think this woman is child trafficking. There is no way, you know. Up to now, honestly, I don't know. So when I hear, now remember, I am at that place where I don't know where I'm going to take my kids tonight. And then now I'm hearing that I am me, Caroline Nkirote Muredi Bongo. Like the most obsessed mother in the world. Like I would die, kill, you know,
literally.
Dig, do anything for my children to be okay.
If you just want mom to kill someone, just touch one of us. Literally. And that's when I came
Yes,
in.
when you had me crying.
Oh no, I was there when they were introducing themselves, but I kept on going in.
Back and
then
forth.
I see mommy crying and I'm like, what in the world is happening? Why is mom crying? So because mom couldn't speak, they now started
asking
me questions.
Ati, what is the name of the
she had a paper, literally, she had like four papers, like 4 forms to write. So she's like, I want you to read. So the woman started freaking out. Because also she was expecting mommy to be, if mommy is a child trafficker, they're like, well, what do you want?
Yeah.
But when she said mommy can't, she said,
and I'm breaking.
And by then she's the only woman. Okay, you have two women, but the rest were men.
The chief and her,
the rest were men. So the men couldn't care less, but the women were just like,
okay, what's happening?
Yeah, mostly the women.
Now remember, I'm breaking on two purposes. They don't know we are being thrown out of the house. So I am like really, devil, what did I do to you? So I'm breaking, and my husband is not here. My dad is very,
aggressive,
organized, not even aggressive, stable. And in a panic, he's usually very contained and calm. Now he's not even here. So basically, what happened after that is that I didn't even know you called daddy.
Yeah, I had to.
Because they were asking for birth certificate.
For
they
daddy's
asking for
passport.
Yes, everything, our passports. We had the passport, but we didn't have the birth certificate.
And he needed they needed information for daddy that we didn't have that.
Yes.
It was the birth certificate.
Yes.
Yeah.
Not even daddies, the kids. So I think it was their way of proving that these are actually my kids. So I had to produce all our passports, IDs, and then now the birth certificate. I didn't have the birth certificate.
Mommy's still crying.
Yeah.
Mommy cried for I think the whole 30 minutes until they went.
Probably 2 hours.
And she wasn't just crying
no, the whole estate
had. She was when the Bible says
weeping, exactly.
And that's exactly what mommy was doing. Imagine even Damita, the most saddest part is when Damita came and she was freaking out. She was like, Mom, what's wrong? And she also started crying.
To the police.
Yeah, they're like, are they taking you to the police? And Isha came and I was trying to tell them to go because now they're bringing more drama and there's just so much chaos. Oh my god. Then Ajipam also was there. It was just and mommy is weeping, she's weeping vigorously,
yes.
Very big. So at that time, I'm trying to call daddy. Daddy's trying to pick up the call. He's hearing mommy weeping in the back. He's
trying to send so daddy's the one who figured out, let me send the documents online because we didn't have them physically. Yeah.
So at that time, and they and they
were confirming
they were writing everything,
numbers,
each of us, they got our names, name by name, Kaylin, Melody, Nadia, Damita, all of us, name by name. And
then I remember you explaining that this was really horrible. I remember Melody had gone back to school. So I remember Kaylin saying, my name is Kaylin, blah, 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 blah. And then Mama had me and Melody before she was married. Because of the birth certificate, to explain. It's like, my God, this is so horrible. And then now Kina Nadia and explain because too much now. So now what was the big thing is that I'm even daddy was not even a big deal because I am the constant factor here, which was, I think, what their biggest suspicion was that I wasn't the mother of any, or I was only a mother of some. I don't know. So they went through those birth certificates over. I think they were trying to authenticate if they were even real birth certificates.
And guys, they were not coming. They were not joking. I think when they came, they were so sure they're gonna come take the children.
Yes,
it was final. I think there was already
that's why I had interviewed the kids before so that we didn't know. Apparently they were there for 30 minutes interviewing the kids.
Yeah. So that's how probably they knew about me. They knew about mom. Even knew my name. And oh my god, it was so bad. That day already started badly. This happened and it was just so horrible.
But then it's 5:30, and then they say okay, they confirm beyond any reasonable doubt that I am the mother of these children. And then so they sort of cool down. They cool down
because they were very
and then I didn't even know there's a police car outside. I would have panicked 25 times. And then not police but government,
Yeah,
probably there was even news guys there. So there were a number of vehicles, you know.
Yeah.
Different. They converged on us. But before we even go outside, because we went outside eventually, they asked me, and why have the children not been going to school? You know. So I'm like, no, the children, the only time they've missed school is 2 weeks. You know?
Which, by the way, when mommy said that, they were like, okay, now show proof of the school.
Even now for these 2 weeks.
We were packing.
First of all, apart from packing, for heaven's sake, the kids are closed in May. They're going to go back to school in September. So we didn't carry results from Kigali. You know, so we didn't have their results.
It wasn't even part of the plan.
Exactly.
Because we were so sure we were coming. But it wasn't like, it's like going to like it's like you're in Nairobi and you decide to go up country.
Do you carry the results of your children? You know, like, let's
it's
carry
not something you think
to the
about.
grandmother the report card so that you can see how well they did. And then now the other thing is like, and then for these 2-3 weeks, because we are not sure, we are homeschooling them in their next years of curriculum. So Kaylin was there and she was doing them homeschooling fully. And then they're like, no, homeschooling is just really recognizing. But anyway, I was like, we took their books. And you know, I remember taking, I think, Nadia's book, Nadia Science book, and Damita's, I think, math book or something. I was like, does this look like a child who's not been going to school? Because they were not even assuming 6 months. Remember, Tulikuja, when they're not going to school.
Yeah.
So they're assuming these kids just don't go to school
never
at
gone
all.
to school, yeah.
So I'm like, guys, does this look like a grade 4? That Nadia was grade 4?
Yeah, she was in grade 4 at that time.
Does this look like grade 4 class 4?
No, grade 3, sorry.
Grade 3, yeah. So I told this woman, this child welfare woman, I said, look, tell me there's any Kenyan kid who can do this science, because Cambridge system, there are places it's very equal to it. For like mathematics, there's really nothing special in it. But when it comes to sciences, kids do practical sciences, so they seem to learn science
in
a bit more differently. Not the content is not different, but the way it's taught, kids grasp the practical side of science very quickly. You know, so I was like, have you seen, you know, a class 3 child in Kenya identify the atomic table? You know, like, you know, have you seen this?
Also, Nadia is very smart in science, basically.
She's
super smart.
She's basically above par when it comes to science. So I was like, so they all took the book, they took it around.
Literally passed it.
Exactly. Then they checked, I think, back to the birth certificate, if it is the child, the age, the grade. You know, I'm looking there and I'm like, this is ridiculous. This is so ridiculous.
Also, I think mom was crying because she can't punch them. So they were more of like angry tears that are coming.
But even the management of Miga was there, because I think they contacted the management of Miga so that they can come and pounce on this child trafficker or whatever, child abuser or whatever it is. So after some time, I think after 1 hour, they figure out, okay, there's no case. And that is when I learned this child welfare is like, no, she's talking back to these people. She was like, you know, when you talk to these kids outside, we're like, this English these kids are speaking, is it possible they don't even go to school, really?
How? Yeah, literally, how?
So even then they were sort of just...
And not to brag, but like my sisters are very bright. Like they're very bright. Because I don't even understand how Damita got them with this. How did she even figure that out? Like,
and then she was asking them all these children, like this girl, not Damita, was asking, Damita was 6 then. And she was like, this girl was asking so intelligent questions, we didn't even know how to answer them, you know. And we are wondering, is this a child who's never gone to school, you know? So the whole drama happens, and then they tell me, okay, now we need a way forward. Can we get out of the house, I think, or something? So when we went out, that's when I met this whole other crew. I was like, my God, what must the neighbors think about me, you know?
Were they like full in the court, Kabisa?
Yeah, you remember the entrance of there's a whole line this side and another whole line, because they couldn't all come into the house. So I think backup was left. Remember, if they were to take the children forcefully, I may not have agreed.
Yeah.
So I think they had plain clothes, maybe cops. Of course, I'm sure they had media. So the next day I was sharing the pastor friend of mine that story. Then apparently this story about child welfare, I don't know, neglect, Mamangina, whole story was happening the day before, 2 days before, I think. And I think they were saying, she was like, this child welfare guys just want to prove they are working. So I don't know if that was part of the agenda, that now they had to respond to every message. I don't know. But I'm sure they knew there were probably 10 destitute children there that had to be caught. Later I was to think, they were to take my children and put, and when they put kids, because in child welfare, it will be months before you're able to take them back
and they're
again.
never taken care of.
No, nicely. Kenya. You better have your child in prison, to be honest. It's really bad.
So bad. And because I'm 17, the chances of me being with my sisters or all of them being together is
in one,
so it would have been very ugly. Very, very ugly.
And there was the point where the whole drama in the news was that they were getting the more children they get, the child welfare society, the more money they get from the government. There's a whole scandal that was there that same week about it. So it was very important that you collect 10 new children and justify 10 new funds, And I know I would have gotten my children back, but probably after 2-3 months when they have suffered. But Ningenda State House Apple, I scream until they just bring back my children, let me tell you. But anyway, it didn't happen. So when I really, really wept, this guy, the top management, the Miga guy, the Nini, they looked and said, really, there is no case here. But let me tell you, if the devil had his agenda, they would not have listened to me.
They would.
And actually, I realized this. My crying is what saved me. My weeping is what saved me. If the whole house thing had not been happening, me, I would have been angry, not crying. I would have been angry and they would have thought probably I'm guilty, So, but because they found me at a very broken point, vulnerable place, I just broke down. Kaylin actually sorted them on. I did not even answer one question. I think they even got on the phone with Daddy. Daddy was answering some questions as well. And
I realized under pressure I'm so good.
So you and Daddy are you're really calm.
They were she was even wow, you're such a strong girl. What are you doing in my house? Stop telling me I'm a strong girl. Anyway, so she was wow, I'm very proud of you and everything, and I was just get out of the house, we'll be fine. And then so they went, and that was it. Also, we ended up going that same day to one of our good friends, which is one of my best weeks of my life. It was because we ended up staying with
them for almost 2 weeks.
For
until we were able to find another place. And that is the second part. They're one of my most what do you call them? Jonathan and David. We'll talk about part 3. We'll talk now about how the experience actually helps in ministry in something else. But anyway, so the culmination of that, I'm praying, and God puts the name of one of my friends who lives around there, and she hears what's happening. She sends an Uber to pick us.
And it's not that she had a lot of room in her house.
She doesn't have rooms. They're building a house. They didn't have rooms.
And we're
so we took up the son's rooms. The sons had to sleep in the living room.
Oh my goodness, they were so sweet.
I know, and for us that was so much happened within those 2 weeks that we knew that is exactly where God wanted us to be, spiritually especially. And from there now, God, it wasn't easy after that for a while, like we shared last time, but that episode, for a long time I was like, God, what was that about? And the way I cried in the dream, the amount of weeping I did in the dream when I realized I can't go see my mother, is the same weeping I did in the actual. So that was the story. So my children weren't taken, I wasn't taken, my children were safe, and we were able to move from Miga that particular time. So that's the part 2 of it. We will go to is it part 2 or part 3?
Part 3.
Part 3. Next session, we will give you the story of how now God uses this whole experience to actually change my heart about a whole new situation. God bless you so much. Remember to subscribe, comment,
and ring the notification bell.
Exactly, so that when we have stories like these, like encouragements and other things, we will come back.